Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's live. Obviously, we're here on Twitter Spaces this week, and it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one. So, we're going to run through some Pixel updates, and then we are joined by two wonderful Web3 founders, which we'll dive into in a minute. If you have any questions, please, you can throw them in our Discord. General chat. We'll be keeping an eye on that. But of course, you are welcome to come up on stage with us and chat as well. And we will be giving away a few berry prizes to people that ask our guests some really good questions. So get ready for that. And yeah, Luke, should we get started?
Hey guys, yeah, I'm only gonna be on for a few minutes. Just want to come in here, give you guys an update on Pixel stuff, say hello to our friends that are joining us. Thank you guys so much for just being here for a little bit as well too. So yeah, we'll just dive right into it. Really glad that you guys are all here today. And yeah, I just want to kind of give a little lowdown on what Pixels. So if you guys have seen, we just posted a teaser on our Twitter. The team has been really hard at work on developing out, all the features that we keep saying we're going to be releasing pretty soon. And essentially, we're just kind of about to change gears into, how we're approaching marketing, how we're approaching, the next couple of months of Pixels. So I'm super excited about that. We have a ton of stuff in development, including pets, including platform, and we're getting ready for the release of the Pixel token. So you're going to start to see more and more teases and more features actually come out related to all these features as well too. We just had like an awesome team meeting today, going into planning and diving a bit more into that. And yeah, I couldn't be more excited about the features that we'll be releasing over the course of the next like month or two. Essentially, we have like three methods of attack. We're going to one, continue out our plan around interoperability. I love interoperability as kind of building our top of funnel, as getting more visibility into the space. That's why we're actually bringing on Nick Comfrey from Seam today. We'll probably have a collab with them coming out pretty soon. And we also have a few more things with that plan that we're not talking about yet, but we're really excited. Some cool partnerships that are coming that should introduce new types of gameplay, new functionality. And yeah, the whole idea with interoperability is we want to kind of be introducing concepts that, not only benefit, our users, but also kind of benefit other users as well. Just so much room for, cross collab here in the space that I still think is super underutilized. So we're going to continue to, kind of push interoperability and do some really unique things in the next month or two that you haven't seen many other projects do. So expect that as we're prepping for the Pixel token, as we're prepping for pets and all of that. And then two, expect more teasers and actually game features related to pets to come out within the next couple of weeks as well too. We're really excited about that. The whole idea is we kind of want to introduce a game mechanic that introduces pets before pets are even released. And we want to kind of allow a game mechanic that allows some work towards the pets that will give you an advantage when we actually do the pets release. So super excited for that. We think that'll draw some good engagement. Three, the thing that we're working on as well too is we're going to start to open up some user generated content tools. I'm super excited about those releases. I think that'll change what Pixels looks like pretty drastically, and I'm really excited to see what that's going to look like. New Cyber and that integration is going to roll out hopefully this sprint, definitely by the end of the month. So you guys will kind of get to see what the full expression of using our tooling will look like and what the Pixel token will be able to do in terms of like tooling infrastructure and building other games. But also, I think by the end of the month, you're probably going to start to see like at least one of our tools opened up to a larger part of our user base too. The idea is we want to kind of slowly roll out some of our decoration builder, things like that to you guys, so that you guys can actually create new content and do our jobs for us essentially in a way. But also the whole point of it is we want you guys to be able to produce things that we would never have thought of building. So yeah, tons of stuff coming into this, but high level again, we have a Pixel token that's coming up. We're going to do, a public sale, all of that kind of stuff. Super excited about that. And we're kind of building up towards what that's going to look like. So again, platform, um, pets and interoperability. Those are kind of the main focuses. And then also opening up Berry, withdraw and deposit as well too. If you guys have seen in the last update, there's some features related to VIP that are in game, in engine. We're going to release those pretty soon, and that should put a dent um, in our botting, in any issues that we're seeing around that. And once that happens, we're going to be opening up withdraw and deposit of Berry. So that's coming really soon. That's super exciting. You guys have been earning Berry, all of that too. You guys are actually going to be able to take it, put it into your hot wallets, do whatever you want with it by the end of the month at least. So hopefully a bit sooner. Tons going on at Pixels. Super glad about all of that. And I'm really glad to have Nick and Sydney on this space with us today too. Again, they're kind of going to go into our plans on interoperability, and Nick will talk a bit about like Web3 social and what we plan on doing. So yeah, Heidi, I'll let you take it away, but I just want to come in, give you guys some updates on what we're doing with Pixels, and give these guys the stage for the rest of the time. We're not going to answer. It doesn't sound like we're going to answer too many questions around Pixels today. This is going to be more of a chat. Part of our marketing strategy now too is, we got to start to build a bit of anticipation. So we want to keep you guys guessing. That's why we posted this little teaser. I'm not going to tell you guys what that teaser is, but if you want to pin that Heidi into this space, that might be nice for people to see that teaser that we just posted. But we're going to start doing a lot of that too. Part of the fun in Web3 is, we want you guys to be guessing. We want you guys to be on your toes. So my job today was just to come in, give a little update. I'll be in Discord, the rest of the day too. If you guys have questions, just chat with me then. But for now, let's keep the conversation kind of centered around what these guys are about to do today.
Awesome. Okay, thanks so much for the update. I have pinned the little sneak peek, and you said keep them guessing. People are guessing in our general chat, so you can keep doing that. I just posted the little Pepe shrugging.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I do want. Okay, one guess is it's nothing to do with methamphetamine. I can guarantee that.
No one's guessed that one yet, but thank you for
No,
clarifying.
they did.
They did. I didn't see that. Oh my goodness. Okay, cool. Well, anyways, there's our Pixels update. So today we are joined by Nick Ray Confrey. I'm Nick. Can you clarify how to pronounce that? Because Luke just pronounced it differently than I thought it was. So
Yeah, thanks for having me, Heidi. It's Nick Confrey.
Nick Confrey, founder of Seam, the MySpace of Web3. And then we have Sydney Lai, core organizer at Somewhere Street DAO. So thank you both for coming up here with us today. I'm super excited to hear everything you have to say about Web3, about gaming, interoperability, social media, and all of it. So thank you both.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thanks, Heidi and Luke. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so let's just dive in. Nick, do you want to talk a little bit about Seam and, social media and even like gaming and all of that?
Yeah, sounds good. So thanks to Heidi and Luke for having me on the Twitter Spaces today. As Heidi mentioned, we're building Seam, which is sort of the MySpace Web3. We're trying to bring it back to really fun, customizable social profiles. On the Pixel side, huge fan for a long time. I have the OG badge in Discord. I'm a proud landowner, been playing this game since it was possible to play it back in 2021. So love everything this team is doing. And I think really what I'm interested in talking about today is sort of social interoperability and how a game like Pixels and all of the friends that you guys are making in Discord, how Web3 and specifically Web3 social can sort of do a better job with friends lists, with guilds. I love the guild system. I love how people in the Pixels community are excited to build together and create new tools. For the play to mint, I was a big avid consumer of all of the quest guides and Scarlet timers and all that the community was building. So talking a little bit more about how we can empower people to build customizable social spaces.
Yeah, it's a really good subject. And just going back to something you said, I don't even have the OG role, so I am very jealous of you. OG player here. Yeah, so another thing to comment on, you said interoperability flawlessly, and the community loves to make fun of how I say that. There's actually like a GIF sticker in our Discord making fun of how I say it. So congratulations on that. Do you want to maybe dive in a little bit into maybe how you predict that things can like benefit from this interoperability in the space?
Yeah, sure, I'd love to. So I mean, Pixels is actually the best example of interoperability done well. I have my Pixel Beast NFT, and because that exists on chain, I can sort of just expect that I can now use it in Pixels. And so I like to call that permissionless innovation, right? Because at the end of the day, what the blockchain allows us to have is just this open big database. And that's good for a lot of things where, me as a developer and building Seam, the social platform, I can actually, if you give me your ETH address, I can see, what kind of communities you're in. And so therefore I can give you a theme or, customize the background of your profile or give you a special mouse cursor. Just because I can sort of already see without asking any third party, without asking for any API keys or anything like that, I can go into the blockchain and see sort of what kind of communities, and if you're a Pixels player and if you have land, then I can give you a cool new theme on your background. And this idea of permissionless innovation is sort of the other side of interoperability, where you can bring things around to the different kinds of social spaces that you want to.
That's really cool. So it's basically like, it's not UGC in the way that it's kind of already done for you by default, because I'm already a part of said community, and because of the power of the blockchain, you can just automatically do these things for me. So it's kind of, it almost makes you feel like you're already accepted and already a part
exactly.
of something, if that makes sense.
Yeah, the party's already going by the time that you show up.
I love that. That's beautiful, honestly, and we see it a lot in Pixels, obviously, with our integrations, and sometimes or quite often, actually, these other communities that are integrated into the Pixels universe throw events, and it kind of gives them a space to meet, and more people come in, and suddenly they feel, oh, I'm already a part of Pixels because I can see this NFT from this other community that I'm a part of. So it's kind of like a really beautiful, almost organically feeling way to be introduced to newer communities. So that's really magical.
Exactly. Yeah, so I think there's that ownership side of it where you can show up and everything that your will be there already for you. The other side of it, which I'm really excited about too, is the creation side of it. So, Web3 and the big NFT boom has sort of been focused on what do you own, but I think the other side of it, like what did you create, is equally as interesting, because when you mint some, that creation is actually there stamped on chain and you are the owner of that thing. So we can do sort of swap from what Web 2 has taught us, where you sort of want to keep your memes to yourself, you want to keep your code to yourself, and you can sort of switch to this everybody is building in public, because the creation of that can be tracked. And so the thing that we're bringing to social with Seam is that everybody can create these blocks. They can live open source, and then anyone else can then take them and remix them. But at the same time, the original creators will retain ownership of, they're the first ones that made the Scarrett timer, but then someone else wants to remix that and change the way that it looks, or change it for Grumpkins, or whatever you want to do. And then the original guild who put that widget together for the first time can get compensated for it if it ever ends up being, as you sort of go along. And so then you can do really cool things like put out bounties. Like if you say, I'm always forgetting to check my farm over here. If someone wants to put a countdown timer, I'll give them, 3K berry. And it starts to have this really cool collaborative ecosystem where you're all building together in public, because finally, unlike the sort of right-click save worlds that Web 2 is in, you can actually start to track the creation and the real authors of things.
That's one of my favorite things about the utility behind NFTs. I think, generally speaking, the average person that isn't very integrated into Web3 sees it as kind of like, why is this JPEG worth $1 million? But what it really comes back to is that tracker, that ownership. Artists can now be fairly compensated for their work. And I mean, memes are art, and so is a beautiful painting, right? So it kind of like opens up this whole other world where people don't have to be scared about their work being stolen, and people copying it and profiting and all of that. So I really like that, and all the ideas you just came up with, Luke. I hope you're taking notes, because those were wonderful. So we love hearing fun ideas. I really liked all the ones you just mentioned.
Yes, and I mean the Pixels community is just so creative and innovative, and I think Discord may not be the best place for the builders in your community, because I think it would be really cool if people who sort of want to extend the game or extend the community outside the game could actually start to customize the social platforms that they're all talking on right now. Like, I spent some time in the want to buy or want to sell channel, or the trading talk channel, and there's like so many little bots and widgets that I wish that could exist. And so, at Seam, that's the kind of stuff that we're thinking about is, Facebook groups. I was at Facebook for 5 years, so I sort of had a look under the covers of like what Web 2 social did well and what it didn't do so well. You join a Facebook group, that Facebook group is going to look the same for everybody, no matter what they wanted to do in there, whether they wanted it to be a, buy sell channel or a support group or something like that. The actual users had no agency over creating that space to feel like they wanted it to, or look the way they wanted it to, or even function the way they wanted it to. So, this Web3 social, hopefully Pixels could be the first communities to sort of go in and start to make custom spaces for their guilds, or advertise their farms, all of those kinds of things in a way that current social platforms just can't look and feel or function the way that they would want to.
I also want to add that I think when you have the community be able to create skins, you're able to bring that economic flow back to the community. If you look at some of the highest paid skins, even in Fortnite, right? It was a Spider-Man skin. But who is making the money? It's not the Fortnite creators who are streaming. It's not the Fortnite players who are playing. It is the IP rights to Spider-Man, and it is Fortnite that is making all that money. And then you have something that's like Etsy, right? You look at the marketplace that Etsy has been able to create, and different types of creators. I can find the most niche, and I find the most niche Pokemon plushies on Etsy, because Nintendo and whatever providers are not going to be creating just unlimited creativity of different types of Pokemon plushies that I can just completely max out at the Pokemon Center. So I think when you have something like Pixels where you're able to import and have, again, that word interoperability, we're able to import different types of skins. And, who knows, maybe in the future, different community members, we can create a whole marketplace for that, right? Then that's something that's something that Fortnite cannot even do. And then, for those who happen to remember Gaia Online or even RuneScape back in the day, just all the secondary markets that were created just for these really, really awesome like mohawks and skins and whatever it is.
Yeah, no, and everything you said, it's funny because a lot of the things you guys are touching on are also, a lot of conversations that we have with our users or internally, and it's where can we find this further interoperability in the space? Like that's the whole point in the end, this ownership aspect, but also giving users the power to, explore and create their own sense of community, be it through a guild or, we call them avatars, but, the integrations and whatnot.
Yeah, if I may also, Coachella is moving that direction, right? Like think about how much revenue Coachella makes, how much revenue they make from their own merchandise as well. And so what is Coachella doing since last year they've been planning this, is that they are open sourcing is not the right word, but Coachella as a brand is allowing their community members to have community owned designs and merchandise and start selling officially licensed Coachella merchandise that's created by their fans, created by their community members, so that it's not just Coachella who's making the money, but it's also those who are the fans who have been paying the tickets all these years anyways.
Yeah, and that's really cool because I think it's starting to show a larger scale shift towards this win-win collaboration. That's sort of the ethos of Web3, where the previous economic models that have powered our internet, Web2 and advertising and all of that kind of stuff, meant that there were large scale winners, and then the rest of us sort of, are the product that is being sold by these larger platforms. The Coachella example is a great one, but also just the idea that anybody can start making these things on these online marketplaces, and then, having this collaboration between people because everyone sort of wins through the creation of these things. I think that's a very optimistic way that hopefully our online platforms are moving.
Yeah. So Sydney, we're just talking about this a bit, but the adoption of NFTs in Web 2 or like just traditional internet or whatever you may want to call it, it's really interesting. It's like it's slowly exploding, which I know doesn't really make sense. But, for instance, if you guys are familiar with Yes Theory on YouTube, one of my favorite YouTube channels, they're just an incredible group of people doing amazing things. And they went to do this huge production of this film. Sorry, I don't have a ton of information. I haven't watched it yet, but they wanted to do this basically a documentary on this athlete, and they went to production companies and received pitches for a bunch of funding, but they didn't have any control over what the final edit would look like, and they weren't happy with that, and they refused. They turned down millions of dollars. So instead, they turned to the public, their community. They have I honestly think they have one of the strongest communities built from an online platform. And they turned to the community and said, "Hey, can you buy a ticket and support us so that we can do this independently of any of these major companies, so that we can produce, edit, publish all on our own?" And it was quite successful. It's funny because when I first heard their pitch, I remember turning to my partner and I was like, why don't they just sell it as an NFT? And then they talked about how they were going to sell it as an NFT. And it was a shame because they got a lot of backlash for that. And I think in the end, they did like 50-50 split. Like half of them were NFTs and half of them were like just a more traditional like payment or whatnot. Because we all understand like there's a little bit of a misguided information on like what owning an NFT is. So that was a shame, but it was really interesting to watch that all go down, and they were successful. They launched, they had several red carpet releases around the world and whatnot. So even that is just a story of them taking back ownership through a community, and it's one of the best examples I can honestly think of.
And I think they were able to accomplish that without the layers, without the layers of NFT and Web3. I mean, you did mention they kind of did it half and half. There was some, cultural nuances in terms of was the community for it or against it? I think to your point that I draw to is that there can be a Web3 component, but at the end of the day, it's really like, the team coming together and supporting it, right?
Yeah. So then just to hop into some other things here. So Sydney is the core organizer at Somewhere Street DAO and has graciously invited myself and Nick to speak at an event at a conference coming up. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. I can give you a little bit of context of the DAO and then what the context for this upcoming summit is, and it's why it's relevant to the Pixel community. So, Somewhere Street, we are a DAO that is organizing and bringing together gamers and collectors through online and offline events. Basically, we're just a bunch of nerds who like to build things, and that's anywhere from Lego sets all the way to really fun projects and supporting those who are building really fun projects around gaming and collectors. That's essentially it. One of the folks on the call is another core lead. I mean, he's here, so hey. And for the upcoming conference, it's GDC. So very curious to see if other folks in the Soul community are familiar with GDC. They have about 33 to 35,000 attendees a year. It's primarily a developers conference, and the opportunity there is really looking at really a place for developers to understand and learn how do you build, create, distribute anywhere from indie games to AAA games during your gaming career journey, right? And so Summer Street, we are creating a fandom summit, which is during the week of GDC. So we have some really great speakers coming up, and Pixels was identified just because I mean, again, with your daily active users, it's one of the marquee games in indie gaming in general, as well as I mean even the added layer of Web3, right, which is not even necessarily a component of that.
Amazing. Yeah. So are we cool to announce what you told me earlier?
Oh yeah. So yeah, we had an external agency that we were working with, and one of the things that we were able to do diligence on and start campaigning for is the community awards. And the community awards, we actually have Pixels nominated as one of the best new communities of 2023. And so during the first day of launch of this campaign, we already had 60 submissions for votes. So for those who are just huge fans of Pixels, feel free to vote. It's actually, I was telling Heidi, it's actually one of the same voting mechanisms that MTV Awards officially uses for their voting site. So for those who are in the area and wants to attend GDC and wants to attend the Fandom Summit, feel free to pick up a ticket. But if you just want to participate online and vote for your community, there's going to be different types of categories. Pixels is nominated for Best New Community, and hopefully, if you guys show up, the community will also win an award as well.
I am so honored that we have been nominated. I mean, I as head of community, it's just such a magical feeling to feel like we're doing something here and it's recognized by our community and by the public, and it's working, and people feel that sense of community enough to think of us in such a in an award situation. So just being nominated is so magical, and this is because of each and every single one of you that has joined us along this whole journey. So thank you all for being here. It's just such a wonderful feeling and community. So
yeah, if I may add, I mean, as a landowner, although I had a farmer steal my land, so I take that back. But something that I really recognized in the Pixel community is that you all are able to capture the zeitgeist of the actually the nostalgia and joy of sim playing, right? Of sandbox sim playing. Again, if for those who remembers Gaia Online, it deeply reminds me of Gaia Online. And Heidi, I've said this to you before. I've talked to the previous founder of Zynga. Pixels is on the map. They're very interested in how you guys come together and stay so true and deeply engaged, because for an indie game and again, I'm not even calling you a Web3 game. You guys are an indie game, right? Like you're not AAA, but you guys are able to meet the type of benchmarks for gaming adoption. And it's because there is this again, it reminds me of Animal Crossing. It reminds me of these ways to be able to just connect with each other, build something fun, and it's just a lot different than a lot of the battle royales. I mean, I know Nick is a competitive Overwatch player, so it's just a different type of gameplay, right? And it's maybe again a nod to the previous social gaming of the early mid 2000s in Facebook gaming. I'm sure Nick can talk more about that, but yeah, you guys are on a similar track, but really reinvented for this season. And so for just gamers like us, like a huge fan.
Wow, thank you so much. Really, and you nailed it. It's really interesting when you look into the gaming space as a whole. There's so many different versions of a game, and the casual gaming space is the one that we're more targeting. And yeah, it's really interesting because we get a lot of people from like different backgrounds and different cultures and countries and communities, and gaming.
Actually, gaming is so casual gaming is actually the largest. Casual
Yeah.
gamers are actually the largest addressable market,
Yeah.
right? So I used to work at a $1 billion VC fund dedicated solely to gaming, and we would have so many games anywhere from indie to triple A, where it was specific market, specific market, specific market, specific market, and it's you can imagine. I mean, this is not a stereotype. This is just stats. It's like men at a certain age in a U.S. market, and actually it's the where the adoption is actually casual gamers, right? Because there's so much less friction. There's a lot less requirement. There's not the same type of loading screen. It's just more fun to play together. It's a completely different market, and yeah, I think that you guys as a community are able to come together over technically casual gaming, which a lot of the focus and the pizzazz is on the sick game of The Last of Us or other types of battle royales or whatever it is, but that's a completely different market.
But I think, yeah, I mean, this really has the core part of most games, which is the social aspect. So, I mean, Pixels most reminds me of RuneScape. I was addicted to that way back in the day, but like that's sort of how I decided I wanted to become an entrepreneur, is like trying to figure out the different price arbitrage between a rune scimitar in Varrock versus like out in the wilds, Like,
we love a RuneScape entrepreneur.
Yes, and
that was
yeah,
that was
like the pipeline
that was Magic
from
CEO, by the
RuneScape.
way.
Yeah, it's
Also a
real,
RuneScape
and
entrepreneur. Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if like Pixels mints a similar generation of entrepreneurs of like, figuring out how much berry this is worth versus that is worth and translating that into Pixel and, that kind of stuff, and being able to then have the accompanying Discord channels for it and learning, from the age. Like, unfortunately, I had my account stolen from me at one point in time, and that's, a low stakes relatively
Rip.
way to learn. Yeah. Yeah, and Web3 similarly also teaches us to be very, very careful about such things. But it's really the social aspect of the game, and I think Pixels really taps into that much in the same way that RuneScape was back in the day.
Nick, can I also add this alpha generation of entrepreneurs? So like these teens in high school and stuff, they're actually coming from secondary marketplaces from Roblox. So I know these teenagers who are hustling their custom Roblox builds, and they're just selling them on Discord, and they're all like not even 20. They're just like 16, 15, 14, and they're just selling their skins, their Roblox skins. So
Yeah, I love
think
that, and that they
this
can
is
do
like,
it. And I
yeah.
wonder how many people in this chat right now are also like thinking about Pixels in a similar kind of way. Of it really gives you a lot of agency over how you want your farm to look, how you want to interact with other people, how you want to buy and sell now that there's trading enabled. But yeah, it does. There is this big community, and it's fun to be part of the community.
Yeah, you guys nailed it, honestly, and you're right. Our community is already doing a lot of that. It's really fun to watch. When we release a new update, how quickly the community dives into the calculations and the algorithm to figure out how many XP plus berry plus time equals whatever outcome it may be, and it's so exciting and crazy to watch. Some of these people are full-blown data analysts just diving into it, and it's incredible. And those are our super users, and you guys touched on this as well. We get this is a casual gaming platform. You can go as hard as you want, right? And I saw a tweet not too long ago from someone, and I'm very much integrated with the super users because I'm on Discord all the time. They're the loud ones, but we have this whole other community of people that just come to hang out. And like I said, I saw a tweet not too long ago, and he's like, yeah, I just stick to one industry. I just stick to mining, because it gives me the perfect amount of time to like go and hang out with my friends on their farms and like have a good time, and then I can go back and mine. And then we obviously have players that are like, they've got like lists of farms, and they go and do their rounds, and they're so intense with it, and they're diving into algorithms. It's like this whole array of different users, different people, from
Yeah, and
every
that's how
background.
the economy starts too, because if you specialize in one thing and I specialize in another, then there's definitely good trades to be made between the two.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So if we have any questions from Twitter, please ask. We'd love to have you come up with us. But if not, we can wrap it up soon here. Thank you both for coming today. This has been wonderful, just hearing like your insight and your knowledge in all of these spaces that are like honestly super relatable to Pixels and our community. And then of course we've got the conference coming up, which we're excited for, and then we've been nominated for. So I will provide some information on how you guys can vote for the Pixels community.
I'll also drop it in the thread here, but otherwise, yeah, you should also have like a more formal way of sharing it on your Discord or something like that.
Yeah, I will. Amazing. Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you both so much for everything. And I think we can just wrap it up here. And for the Pixels community, we will see you next week for our live session.
Excellent. Thanks for having us. I'll see you all in game.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
Bye, guys.